The Spa-Francorchamps circuit demands absolute terminal velocity. For the majority of this track, the throttle is pinned, and cars routinely breach 300 kilometers per hour. But on the Kemmel Straight, Lance Stroll's Aston Martin lost its momentum. Mid-sprint, the car's electrical deployment cut out so aggressively, it was as if the car had struck an invisible wall of air. This telemetry graph captures the failure. The AMR-26 sheds 58 kilometers per hour, limping into the braking zone. Adding junior categories reveals the deficit. At this point, Stroll's car is traveling slower than Formula 2, Formula 3, and GT3 machinery. When an elite open-wheel prototype is outperformed in a straight line by a GT3 vehicle, the engineers cannot fix the problem with simple setup changes. The data points to a failure in the car's underlying layout. Going into the 2026 season, the expectation was different. Aston Martin had paired an aerodynamic team led by Adrian Newey with a new Honda power unit to create a championship contender. After 10 rounds, the reality is a collapse. They sit 10th in the constructor standings with exactly 1 point. The mechanical attrition has forced the team into a corner. Drivers have cycled through a carousel of new engine components just to survive the weekend, absorbing repetitive 10-place grid penalties that trap them at the back of the pack. Management realized that a new front wing or tweaked floor would not rescue the AMR-26. The chassis itself was the real bottleneck. Operating under a strict cost cap forces a brutal choice. Aston Martin had to decide whether to burn their budget on band-aids for a dead car or execute a total mid-season amputation of their design philosophy. A Formula One car is a tightly coupled ecosystem. Every cooling vent, electrical cable, and carbon fiber panel relies on the others, meaning one extreme design choice triggers a chain reaction across the entire vehicle. For the AMR-26, that choice was the aerodynamic packaging. The design team sought to maximize external airflow by ruthlessly shrinking the internal volume. This schematic illustrates how the aerodynamic shell constricted the internal space, leaving the engine no room to shed heat. Crushing the components together induced violent vibrations directly into the battery pack, crippling the hybrid system's electrical charge. The aerodynamic shell choked the engine. To stop the engine from failing, the engineers were forced into massive setup compromises, and those compromises killed the car's speed. This is a state of interdependent weakness. Honda cannot fix the power unit until Aston Martin destroys and rebuilds the aerodynamic shell caging it in. The first step in that rebuild arrived at the Hungaroring. Aston Martin introduced a massive 16-part intervention to the chassis. This B-spec upgrade featured a completely new underbody, revised side pods, and redesigned cooling inlets. These new parts were not designed to generate immediate downforce or move the team up the timing sheets. The new chassis exists solely to relieve structural constraints. It is an engineering reset designed to let the Honda engine room breathe and function properly. By intentionally sacrificing short-term performance, Aston Martin cleared the corrupted variables. They created a stable platform to prepare for Honda's crucial engine upgrade in Zandvoort. Engineering in a wind tunnel is clean and predictable. Putting a brand new configuration on a live track is harsh and unpredictable. The B-spec debut proved exactly that. During Hungarian practice, the car emitted a puff of smoke and ground to a halt, triggering a red flag. For the drivers, stepping out of a broken car and walking to a microphone to explain another failure to the press is a grueling ritual. But inside the garage, this wasn't a disaster. Pushing a new architecture until a component snaps is the exact stress test the engineers required. A breakdown on a fresh, uncorrupted testbed generates the specific diagnostic data required to validate the new architecture, data that remained masked in the original broken chassis. Aston Martin has effectively transformed the remainder of their 2026 racing season into a multi-million-dollar test program. Adrian Newey and the team leadership are absorbing public failure now to map out a clear baseline for the 2027 regulations. Aston Martin's decision to scrap their original design mid-year reflects a calculated trade-off. They are surrendering the current championship to ensure the 2027 car begins with a proven foundation rather than a legacy of inherited errors.